Yeah, good afternoon, as it is here in France. And today I would like to talk about a subject that many of us might find we have certain difficulties, and it's togetherness. Now, it might sound a little simplistic. You'd say, of course, I know what togetherness is. I know what it means. I know what it entails. If you do, that's good. Do you really? There's a great phrase in the Irish language, probably my favourite phrase. It's a scar chéile a bharan na daoine, which has a few nuances of translation, but essentially it means we live in each other's shadow. Now you might say, Kelly, that's obvious. Of course we do. We do, but we can be quite ignorant of people as well. When I say we, people who have problems with our minds, have problems associating in whatever way that may be. We find that we drift away from people quite easily. That we don't do it deliberately. Maybe sometimes we do, but we find that we're happier on our own now. I've said in a previous video that I'm quite happy on my own. I'm never bored. There's always something going on in my head. Was admitting that, yeah, it's probably the goblins in my head keeping me going, but at least there's something happening there. At least I have something which I can relate now. Other people, it's not as easy. Maybe that's your case, where you don't want to be alone, where you think horrible thoughts over which you've no control. And other times, the thoughts are quite pleasant. You know, you're sitting in a garden, you're drinking beer, maybe having a Moroccan woodbine, and you're thinking happy thoughts, and that can be very good. And it can be soothing, but it's a panacea and lasts only a certain time until we find that we can sail in calmer waters, much calmer waters, all of the time, a large part of the time, then we're going to have problems. Now, what that has to do with togetherness, it comes down to, do we need other people? And then sometimes you'd say, well, people to whom we're closest, we're either related to them or married to them, we have them as children. And you know how much we all love those things. Well, some of the time anyway. And the rest of the time we may have to pretend. And when your mind's not well, yeah, you do have to pretend a lot of the time. You have to pretend to like things. Going to the in-laws. Sorry, no disrespect to in-laws. Quite like my mother-in-law. You do need to ask yourself the question: do you like other people? And if you don't, well, I'm afraid you're gonna have to learn how. And it's, do we enjoy having people close to us? Have we ever questioned that? Have we ever questioned how close we want to be to people, whether it's emotionally or physically? If it's not a lot, then I would suggest that you create that space for yourself. But the one thing you can't do, all of you, is ignore it. You cannot let it resolve itself. because that's like putting a pile of cement on the floor of a building. So you're building a house. It's like putting a load of cement, big pile of it, on the ground and expecting it to level itself. You can leave it there. I guarantee you, after a few days, you're going to have a big problem. You're going to have to move this solid mass. That's often what our relationships are with other people. It's a solid mass. It becomes insurmountable. It's between you. So what do you do with it? Do you set limits? Do you leave it as it is? Do you hope that someone else will do it for you? Would you be happy if someone else did it for you? Ask yourself these questions. Pick the one that you think is most appropriate for you. But I'd imagine that you'd like to be able to sort this out for yourself. Now, by doing that, then you're choosing to involve others in your life. Are you willing to do that? You don't have to tell them that you're feeling bad, but you can do it in very small ways. You choose which of the 200,000 or so words in the average. No, I think it's about that in the dictionary. Would you like to use? Don't have to choose many. You just have to choose the ones that make most sense. And you are. You can do it with your partner. That's your practice. Because you may not have done it before. They see you. They see how you suffer. They see how difficult it is. They're your first point of contact. They're a good friend. They will see how you suffer. They will know that you're not being very communicative. You're not keeping in touch as much as you were, because for many of you, you'd have felt that your mind hasn't been good for a long time. But then the result of that may take a long time. Some people, it does take years. Doesn't mean to say you haven't been feeling it for all these years. But then it becomes a problem that others can see. They know you know about it. And when you do tell them, they will feel relieved for you. They will feel that now, perhaps, you'll let them help you in whatever way. Don't be afraid, because people will listen. They will help. They may not be able to do anything, but at least you can speak to them and perhaps say to them, "Don't want you to say anything. I just want you to listen. Listen to what I have to say." Because for many of us, what we would have gone through when we were very young, that nobody did listen or nobody asked us. How are you? What do you feel? In any case, you have to be aware of others. Look, see how people respond to you, because you won't see your face, this thing of beauty here. Look, I don't see it when I turn up in whatever situation I find myself in. I insert myself into someone else's life, because that's what you do when you go out. You're affecting other people as you move around. Some sort of grotesque Brownian motion. You cause other people to move away from you. It's like I said, you can't see this. You think you're doing this, and in fact, you're doing this. And it's hideous. It's horrible. You think you're doing well, but your whole demeanor is. Yeah. So this is why we say that we want to live alone. Well, okay, we want to be isolated. That's fine. Don't go near people because you'll go home after and go, "Geez, those people weren't very nice." That woman was very disagreeable in the shop, or I went to see the mechanic and he didn't give me a lot of time. When somebody sees her, that could you blame them? So we may think that we're smiling a good smile. In fact, we're not. We're showing every bit of horror in our souls to people. And that's why they get frightened. That's why people can show indifference. This is why when I hear people say, "Yeah, nobody tells me what to do. I make up my own rules." Actually, you don't. As soon as you meet people, you're involved in their lives. This isn't your show. You don't write the rules. This is not without consequence. Your actions have responses from other people, not so much reactions, because if your actions had reactions, then prepare to be hit an awful lot because you're being very disagreeable. But people are very nice. They're very willing to engage with you and they're very forgiving. So that response can also lead to wanting to ignore people. When you come home, having had such an experience, what can I do? I can stay here in between my four walls in my, not so much Superman call it, wasn't, let's say, the Temple of Solitude. In my case, it's not quite hovel of solitude, and it feels like that sometimes. It's rather nice in the house. But it can be solitude. It depends how you take. I can look out the window here, a little bird feeder, and I fill it with birdseed, and then I watch. Well, this way. I look out there, and I call my bird feeder page 3, because I look out, and I see lots of tits. Blue ones, great ones, chaffinches everywhere. There are robins, tree creepers, wrens, and it makes me very happy. So I depend on them to give me little happy moments. Now, why can we not take the same from people? We can't go around our whole lives ignoring people. We're trying to ignore the interactions because we know that we have to interact with people. Why not make it happy? We don't have to engage too deeply if we don't want to. But if you do, make it a happy encounter. The more you do it, the more you find that you will start to engage with certain people more because we have our habits and we go to more or less the same places. Whether it's local shop, chemist, garage. My car is unwell, so it's in the garage. It's being looked after. But then there are other places, and I need to repeat them. And it's going to those places that you'll see the same people, and over time you'll develop a rapport with people, and you find these are the ways in to increasing our sociability. Because we as people can become very, very unsociable very quickly, and it takes very little for that to happen. On the other side, that balance, it takes a bit more work. It takes a lot less work to be unsociable, a lot more work to be social. But as you do that, you find that you construct something much more tangible. It's people smiling at you, it's people getting closer. That space between you is reduced. This is what we want. Now, we set those limits, but you cannot stay like that forever. But if you decide that that's the limit you want, then you act within those limits. But you don't want it going. If you say, my limits with people are there now, you say, okay, that's fine. You act within those limits. You enrich how you interact. And it's not just acting. Anybody can act. We do it the whole time. We act. And we know that. We know that what we do is acting. It's what call acting. We play a part. Look at me. I'm splendid. You should see me when I'm not doing this. Oh, I won't say I'm mad, but I'm not. No, don't worry. It could be an act. Hmm? So we then start interacting with people. We find that will start to pull at the threads of people's lives, and this is what we do. We don't learn a huge amount about somebody in one go. We pull at the threads. We can find that no, you like that. Oh, okay. And again, it's okay to keep a large distance. It gives you a greater field of vision. It gives you a greater field of action, and it allows you to feel safe. It's very important. All these things are very important. Now, I'll counter that by saying that isolation is a protection of sorts. And you can be happy in isolation. I know. I know how easy that is. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather be in touch with people. When you decide to isolate yourself, you enter into a type of, in French is a great word for it, under jouissance. It's a joyfulness in feeling bad. And it's a conundrum. The worse you feel, the better you feel. The lower you sink, the colder it gets, the more you enjoy that. And that sounds terrible on the face of it, but believe me, it's not. It's such an easy thing to do. Whereas the opposite is difficult. Again, it's this balance. A good balance is more difficult. It's easier to eat a dozen donuts every day than to go for a walk. Eat salad. Or cucumber. Once these things in life. Yeah. Donuts. But it is easier to isolate yourself, to sit inside your four walls, and hope that someone's going to do it for you. When the only way to do it, I've seen, is to at least think your way outside your four walls, and maybe one day move if you find yourself in that situation. Don't just think that you're in your own mental prison, which you are, but that you're actually here. At least you're here. And then think, well, I've got my four walls, and I'm here. So what can I do then? People everywhere. And you go and you see enough people, whether it's in your supermarket or the chemist, in the cinema. Cinema might be a big step. But at least there, you're together. And big to them. You will be living in someone else's shadow, and they will be living in yours. So that would be a good move as a first move. So for now, I shall take my leave of you. Cat. Two cats, in fact. One of them is trying to break the window at the moment because for the umpteenth time today, she wants to come inside so she can go outside. So that is my shadow. So for now, I'll leave you. Be well. Be happy. Be good. If you have a God, may your God go with you. I will speak to you very soon.